Hello and welcome to Hail Mary Joe 2 TDs Scorer shows. I'm your host, Jose, and today we're going to be discussing week number 4. We'll review ticket number 1 since there's still 4 players available. Still on that. That was a 5-picker, right? And we have 2 more tickets to go. Ticket number 2 and ticket number 3. Both are going to be 4-pickers. There's 3 games I've decided to stay away from. It started out in the week. I was going to stay away from 2. Now I'm staying away from 3. So the 3 games I'm not going to have any bets on are going to be LA Rams at Chicago. Just between the injuries on LA and not trusting anybody on Chicago, just can't touch it. The other one is Pittsburgh and Indy. They're both not scoring any great amount of points, and I just don't see them, changing that. So who knows what's going to happen, but all I know is I'm not putting any money on any players in that game. And it's the same situation for the last one. It's going to be Tennessee at Miami. Between injuries for Miami and not trusting anybody on Tennessee, the 3 games I'm not touching. So we're going to review ticket number 1. Now, please note, this is not financial advice. This is strictly what I'm doing and only what I'm doing. Please note, I'm not authorized to give you financial advice, but if you do decide to gamble on football or any other sport, please note that you only gamble what you can afford to lose. So, ticket number 1 from Thursday's video, regard to that, had Wandale Robinson. He had a great game, but he didn't score any touchdowns, so that became a dud. And other than that, I had him with 4 other players. So I have him with Tyler Conklin for the New Jersey Jets, 2 touchdowns at plus 3,000. I have him with Jalen Polk, New England Patriots, 2 touchdowns at plus 12,500. I have him with Jerome Ford for Cleveland, 2 touchdowns at plus 900. And I have him with Carson Steele, Kansas City, 2 touchdowns at plus 850. Now, when you can get an RB1, as in Jerome Ford and Carson Steele, just to let you know, over plus 800, it's really hard to say no to it, especially if you have them where they can both run and catch. So, that's why I went with them, and there's going to be another one of these on the next ticket, on ticket number 3 also. So, as we go on, let's go over ticket number 2 for you, please. And ticket number 2 is going to be 4 players. Now remember, I'm betting 50 cents on the 1s, 50 cents on the 2s, and 25 cents on the 3s. Now that's what I'm doing and only what I'm doing, so please, if you do decide to gamble, only gamble what you can afford to lose. And this is not financial advice, just a statement of what I'm doing with my money and the players that I'm going with. So on ticket number 2, the first player that I have is going to be Andre Yoshiva. Now for Cincinnati, it's in the Cincinnati-Carolina game with a total of 47 points. Now I don't trust anybody on Carolina, so that's not doing it. And with Cincinnati, he's paying for 2 touchdowns at plus 1,400. In the last 3 games, he's 10 of 17 for 85 yards and 3 TDs. He had 1 TD in week 1. He had 2 TDs in week 2. He had 0 TDs in week 3, so it's a great opportunity for him to get 2 TDs in week 4. Now he has as many red zone targets as Jamar Chase, and he's only got his touchdowns from red zone plays, which means there's no 65-yard bomb like there would be with Jamar Chase for a touchdown. Okay, so he could be a viable target in the red zone, especially when Chase is not available. Yes, I know that T. Higgins is back into play, but no, not really. So, that's just my opinion. It's my money. I get to pick whoever players I want to put on it, and that's who it is. So then the next thing is going to be Dalton Schultz for the Jacksonville-Houston game with a total of 44.5. Now, Dalton Schultz is a Houston player for 2 TDs at plus 2,200. Last 3 games, he's been 7 for 11, 48 yards and 0 TDs. So it's about time that he starts catching TDs. There's going to be no Tank Dell in this game, and they're playing the 30th ranked pass defense, okay? So I expect to get some red zone looks for Dalton this week, and I expect him to score because that's what they're paying him to do. And at the end of the day, he's becoming a shell of a player of what he was last year, and that's not good if he wants to keep on playing in the NFL. So the third player I have on this ticket, so third player, ticket number 2, is going to be Jalen Naylor for Minnesota at 2 TDs at plus 2,800. In the last 3 games, he's been 7 for 9 for 106 yards and 3 TDs. He's had 1 TD in each game, so he's with the hottest quarterback right now, Sam Darnold. And at the end of the day, I expect this trend to keep on going, especially with Jair Alexander's playing situation uncertain, that he could actually be in for 2 touchdowns this week. And it's he's been a great rookie. So at the end of the day, I expect that connection between him and Donaldson just to increase and get better. I mean, this is his 4th game in. He could be in for a big one as the fact that he's been doing so well for the last 3. And the last player that I have is also somewhat of the same situation, that's been playing great, just when he gets to play, he's been playing great. So it's going to be Keon Coleman for Buffalo, 2 TDs at plus 3,000. In the last 3 games, he's been 5 for 7, 75 yards and 1 TD. Now, last game he was suspended for showing up late. Now, this week, word is he's not been late or anything of that nature. So I hope he keeps his act together. And at the end of the day, between him and Shakir, they're really the best 2. I don't trust Curtis Samuel on that team. And Dalton Kincaid is Dalton Kincaid. He's tight end 1. Could be wide receiver 2. Sometimes could be wide receiver 1. But at the end of the day, Keenan Coleman will have an opportunity and will get some chances within this game. So, off like that to ticket number 3. Now, ticket number 3 is going to have the following. It's going to be for the New Orleans-Atlanta game. I'm picking Rashid Shaheed, New Orleans at plus 1,800. Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave are questionable. Horrible week 3, but Saints schedule. But Saints sucked that game. They just played horrible. He's got 21.5 target share and 28.3 first reads. Atlanta plays single high at 60.7% of the time. So expecting A.J. Terrell from Atlanta to be in coverage, and he's giving up a catch rate of 84.6%. So, you know what? Rashid Shaheed has a great opportunity this week. I really do, and that's where I'm putting my money. So in the next game between the Philly and Tampa, I'm going to go with Bucky Irving again for Tampa at plus 1,000. Here's another situation. RB1 over plus 800. You know what? It's just hard to say no to. He's facing the 24th ranked Run D. So there's going to be a great opportunity for him to put some carries on. I mean, he's got 25 carries for 154 and 0 TDs. So Rico Dowdle just got his first TD this week, Thursday night. So I'm hoping that Bucky Irving starts that trend and increases upon it and gets us 2. So that's it. Now on player number 3 for ticket number 3 it's going to be for the Washington-Arizona game, which is one of the higher totals at 49 points. I expect things to go nuts with these 2 QBs, and they're going to be airing it out. And the player that I'm picking finally has a connection with him. That's going to be Terry McLaurin for Washington at plus 1,600 for 2 touchdowns. The last 3 games, he's been 12 for 18 for 139 yards and 1 TD, and that was basically all from last game. So, he's connecting with Jaden Daniels at 23.7% of the target share, and he's getting first reads at 26.8. So, he should face Sean Murphy Bunting for Arizona, who's giving a catch rate of 85.7. With that in mind, I'm sticking with Terry again. I think he's the best receiver on the field, at least for Washington, And then the last game that I have, last player for ticket number 3, is going to be as followed. It's going to be in the Seattle to the Detroit game with a total of 46.5. That's going to be JSN, Jackson Smith Ninjaba, for 2 touchdowns at plus 2,000. In the last 3 games, he's 17 for 21, 176 yards and 0 TDs. 0 TDs got to change. So, he's got 20.4 target share. And last week he ran more routes than DK Metcalf. So, he runs 85.2% of his routes from the slots, and Detroit is not a good slot cover team. So I expect him to do quite well this week, right? So That's who I have, and that's who I'm sticking with. So they're the 4 players. I'm going to review all the tickets again since it's just before game day, and then I will go off. So on Thursday, we lost out on ticket number 1 with Wandell Robinson, but we still have all these players are all for 2 touchdowns. So we still have Tyler Conklin into play, Jalen Polk into play, Jerome Ford into play, and Carson Steele into play. That would be ticket number 1. So for ticket number 2, I went with Andre Yoshiba for Cincinnati, 2 TDs at plus 1400. I went with Dalton Schultz for Houston, 2 TDs at plus 2200. I went with Jalen Naylor, Minnesota, 2 TDs at plus 2800. And I went with Keon Coleman for Buffalo, 2 TDs at plus 3000. Ticket number 3 is going to have the following players. It's going to have Rashid Shaheed for New Orleans, 2 TDs plus 1600. It's going to have Bucky Irving for Tampa, 2 TDs at plus 1000. It's going to have Terry McLaurin for Washington, 2 TDs at plus 1600. And the last one's going to be JSN for Seattle, 2 TDs plus 2000. Please remember, this is not financial advice, strictly what I'm doing and only what I'm doing. I'm not authorized to give you financial advice, and please note that if you do decide to gamble on football or any other sport, please note, only gamble what you can afford to lose. So, enjoy the games, and I'll be back next week to review week 4 and start off with a new set of players for week 5. Enjoy the games.